the claim. Page on first. Oh, excuse me, consideration of the agenda. Let's skip things.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay,
Tammy, it's gonna be.
all those, any discussion about the agenda? What's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda, consideration of claims August 28th, 2024.
We do have each line.
You're gonna do the whole thing? You're gonna, yep, the minutes from August 12th, August 13th. And the student attendance agreements, 2 going to Kalispell, 1 going to Smith Valley, 1 to Kyla.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
You have nothing to add on the students, right? I mean, that's the basics, right?
Yeah, they're just, we're not taking any in, they're going. Only one of these kids actually used to go here.
Okay. Okay, any public comments that are not on the agenda? Okay. All right, going on to committee reports, PTO. Shannon, Cammy?
We just did our whole list of activities for the year. You want me to tell you?
I mean, any maybe that are coming up, sure.
So the next one coming up is the Halloween Carnival on October 26th from 2 to 4. We need to start collecting candy for that probably.
Okay, and then the student council dance will be after that from 5 to 7.
We did reorganize and Katie is the new president. Oh. And I'm the vice president.
And Cindy's gonna put treasurer with me so that she can take it over.
Nice. And Ricky's secretary.
After that, just to get us through the end of the year, after that, turkey bingo is on November 22nd. 6 to 8:30. Christmas store will be December 19th and 20th. We'll set up on the 18th because that's the Thursday and Friday before the winter break.
Set up the 18th, right?
Yeah, set up on the 18th after school. And we are gonna do a new fundraiser this year. We're gonna do those candy bars for $1. We're gonna sell those. Selling a candy bar for $1 is actually cheaper than we can sell them in the concessions when we have to go and buy them ourselves. So we'll probably still do both, but we're gonna do that for a fundraiser. So that gets us through the end of the year. We have more, but that's for start it out.
Did you have a good turnout for your meeting?
Same people.
Yeah, same people. I know you worked really hard to recruit at the open house, so I hope you get sworn.
I did just send Katie, she had a list in the PTO room of people that said they would volunteer, so I sent her that.
And
So hopefully
Melissa,
we will have-
yeah, Melissa wanted to join us, but we got the dates mixed up, so.
Okay. Yep. So teacher rep. This is done.
Me, so it's all new me, so I am the librarian this year, half-time and in middle school classes as well, so we're excited about getting the library up and running and all the stuff, so we've been decorating and changing around a little bit and stuff like that. So the hardest thing that I've had to do is that it's really hard being in 2 different spots because I realized that like the papers that I need are over there. And so then I'm over there, the papers I need are over here. So I'm trying to figure out 2 notebooks, one that stays here and one there and all that stuff. So, but it's working out. I've had classes with every class in the school. I have my 5th graders today because I didn't get them on Monday. Thank you for not here because it was Monday, okay? So we're figuring out the system. I got the system to work. I got it changed over. I'm super excited. I got some new books I was going to show you. These are the new books that I got. In school year, Michigan and Me, Jumper, Big. This is the Caldecott's. This is the award-winning book. The Labors of Feel, and then The Eyes of the Impossible, which is the Newberry for this year. So each of the new kids. So they're actually usually down there. We read the Caldecott and we're starting to look at the Newberry and stuff like that. but I just wanted you guys to see some stuff. Usually, when I was librarian a long time ago, I liked to buy hardback books because paperbacks don't have very much of a shelf life. I mean, there is a place for them, but usually if you're gonna get quality literature, you're gonna get hardback books. And these are super expensive too, so I guess as a future item, I might think about if you guys could do a book budget for the library. I need to look at the periodicals budget because I feel like maybe it's more than it needs to be, so there may be some savings there. So what I've actually done, since there's no book budget, is I just decided since I'm gonna spend my teacher budget on myself and took off these out of the classroom fund instead of the book fund. These books right here cost $100.
Altogether, or.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have like each book.
Come on.
But you know, you see how much you get. So like the budget that I'm operating with this year is 150, so a few more books than that's all we're gonna get. We will have a book fair in November. We will get some books from that as well. But a lot of times those are books from Scholastic, and Scholastic's a great company. I don't mean it's not, a lot of times they might not have the super quality literature you want, especially like nonfiction.
Do you have the date of that?
I don't, I think it's,
I tried to look it up in our
I
PTO.
want to say the
But I
8th,
couldn't.
Chris told me, and they did send me an email at the
Chris
beginning
sent
of.
me an email, I
Well,
think.
yeah, and I don't remember either. At the time I was like, oh, November is really far. Probably should look at it.
Maybe the 4th.
November
Does that
4th
sound right?
Through the 8th.
I was gonna say the 8th sounds familiar. Yeah, maybe that's the ending day. Yeah. So anyway, so we'll try to get that. So anyway, that's about all I have. Middle school classes are about the same. Seems weird that I don't see them as much. I do see each class at least once. Most of the year. So it's working out pretty well. Like I said, I basically share the space. So when I'm over here, she's over there, and then she's supposed to be done, although she ends up hanging out, but that doesn't bother me. So she just hangs out. That's her planning.
And sneakily tries to add more things to do.
She does. And I'm like, Chris, you're not here, remember? She's like, But anyway, so that's kind of what's new. I don't think there's any like new events or anything going on with the middle school. Or anything that you guys haven't heard before, so we'll try to keep you updated with that. If you ever have any questions or want to do anything at the library, just let me know.
It looks beautiful.
Yes.
By the way.
Like the same keeping.
Well, I was so excited. I found, I don't know if you tell these the Staples, but I found the, it's like paintable wallpaper, but of course I didn't do the wallpaper thing, it's too messy, so I just stapled it up there.
Oh,
So.
how you put it out, I can
People, you know, people are like, you painted, I'm like, no, I just found it, and I found it at the thrift store for like $1. So, no, I'm like, oh, no, that works.
So that's the kind of budget we.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, Deb. Thank clerk report. It's not really big. Okay. Kalispell Auto Group ticket sales. And we all think of it as a Toyota ticket raffle, but apparently we got a little talking to you about it. It's the Kalispell Auto Group.
They own everything.
Toyota. I know, everybody in the valley calls it Toyota raffle.
But the tents we sat at were Toyota, so just.
Right. So during the back to school night, I checked out 175 tickets to students and parents. I also sent home a flyer with all students this week, so the parents that I missed can still sign up to get tickets to take home. I did get a few of those back today, mostly 5th and 6th grade. And so I sent tickets home with the kids that wanted to do that. There are still some parents that opted to not, which is fine. They just know that they will have to pay for field trips when they come up in their kids' class.
By the way, I've got 5 children that are selling tickets. If you're interested.
I know, they're so good. And I've changed the class extracurricular accounts now. Instead of 4th grade, it'll say class of 2037 or whatever it is. So then the money that they raise in 4th grade, if they don't spend it, it goes with them to 5th and to 6th and 7th. So that money will just keep going with them. And then I believe they can in 8th grade, if they don't spend it, we can send that money to the high school. I know they do it in town. That money goes to the high school and helps support them in the high school as well. So that money can go with them, if they don't spend it all. And then I started coming at 7:30 to cover the office before Teresa gets here, and other than the first day of school, nobody needs me. But it's only the first week, so we'll see if this coverage is still like something that is needed. But then by then I might feel like it. I'll just keep coming in so I get up to 3:30.
So do you still have more tickets?
Lots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually sold 9.
Oh, wait.
And if you sell them all and you want more to raise more money for your class, because some kids don't want to, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
We know more people.
I don't have a balance for the interlocal because I think it's zero with buying the building, but there's a new clerk and I didn't want to ask her. She's already up to here trying to keep her nose above water, so. Another new clerk? Yep. The other one
You're
is
irreplaceable.
she retired. And she's gonna request me as her mentor because I work with her in Kalispell. And we speak the same language, which helps. When I was learning this, I got a clerk that we did not speak the same language. She was like, this is important, so I called somebody else all the time. So anyway.
So real quick, Evelina was asking me, she didn't know how those tickets worked. So basically you can sell the tickets.
So I buy them from the school.
No, you don't have to buy them,
you
that's
just
that's what I thought too. You get the tickets and you sell them and then that money goes into the fund for this year. And then if they don't use it all, then it goes with them to the next grade.
Tickets if I don't sell.
Then you bring them back. You don't sell them.
You bring
just
back the
them
money you got or the tickets you didn't
It
sell?
was really confusing. I got that thing, but I'm like. What to do with
It's
it?
just a raffle, so people can, they buy a ticket to try to win a vehicle.
So my kids have done sports in town and I thought it was the same way because for the sports they did, you had to buy them and you could either write your name on them or sell them and recoup the fee that you
Yeah.
just paid for to play ball or whatever. This is like.
No, you
Bring
just check,
us the money.
you just check out the
Check it
tickets.
out.
I have a spreadsheet.
Uh-huh.
So when you bring the stubs back with the money, I put that towards whichever child sold the ticket.
Yeah.
Whatever class, and then the extra ones I just put back in the pool and somebody else can check them out. So there's.
Still confusing, but I'll try it out.
Just,
They give you $10, you give them, you keep the stub and give them the ticket.
And then you bring the stub and the money to her.
if you see the
Yeah.
ticket,
It'll
the
make-
bottoms, yeah, the bottom that they fill out, you wanna give that to me so I can enter them in the
I
drawing.
have some in my purse.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, just come see me.
I'll show you.
All right, thanks, Shannon. Principal reports.
Great. So our current enrollment is 142. Our largest class is third grade now with 25. Followed by sixth grade at 20. And then down smallest class, we have 4 that are at 13. Let's see, for expanding learning opportunities, students will be participating in the state mass testing program. So that is the LC Artson and OPI designed state testing so that they're testing just the kids in our state. This year it'll take the place of SBAC. So 3rd through 8th grade will be tested. It's broken down into 3 testing windows throughout the year. So think something similar to fall, spring, and or fall, winter, and spring. And the cool thing about this test is they tell you what's going to be on it, and the teacher tells the program when the kids will know it. So they say, you buy the first window, the kids will know these 3 things, and it'll test them on that. And they lay out their whole year, so they know what the kids are going to be tested on that date, so that other tests such as like MAPS, they test you on what the kids should know the whole year and then give them a rating based on that. This only goes on, well, we're not going to discourage the kid because they don't know that part yet. So we're only going to test what they know. So it's kind of it's very cumbersome, but we're
Is that
working on
going
it.
to count, so to speak, like for the school report card?
Yes,
all
that is the
accreditation?
school report card now.
Okay.
Yep. We were told to tell the board members and other people that the school report card is going to be hinky over the next 2 years or so, because not all schools are using MAST and they're still trying to figure out how to pilot it the right way. So last year it was 1 test all year, this one with several testlets. And this year it's broken down to 3, so it's going to skew the data. So they said, don't really take the school report card super seriously over the next couple of years because it's going to be super skewed.
So we won't if they don't.
Right, exactly. That's what we say.
Just saying.
On top of that, we also have our first school standardized test, which is our MAP rope test. Because we don't necessarily have access right away to the MAST, we give MAPS, which rates our kids nationally based on their same age peers, how they're doing in comparison, so we can help sort the kids into title groups and things like that. For staff, the Montana Cares program and its partner companies. So there's a new program called Montana Cares, and MSSA, Montana Small School Alliance, is partnering and helping with Montana Cares. It's a big group of things. Basically, it's social and emotional well-being of everyone in the school, teachers, staff, but then it also has an app option that we can choose that students download on their phone, and if they need help, if they're feeling sad or they want, or they're feeling depressed or whatever they have, or if they say, hey, my friend said something that scared me last night, I'm worried they're gonna hurt themselves, they can report it on that app. If they don't want to tell a teacher. I haven't done a whole lot of training on that yet, because it's still kind of new, but it's something a lot of bigger schools have, a way for kids to anonymously tell, hey, Jenny's struggling right now, she needs help, but I'm afraid to come forward because she might be mad at me. Basically, it's kind of neat. So we're working on that with a whole bunch of other cool things. MANT training, which is training for dysregulated kids, how to help calm them and bring them back to regulation. There's just so many things. So I'll have a pamphlet to send out to you guys later this week.
So I see you have MAT/CPI.
Yes.
So are you making a choice between the two, or are you doing both? Because they're quite a little different,
Mhm.
like,
So
and I have a preference if you want my opinion, but if
So-
you don't, it's okay.
we're looking for MANT or CPI. So they've been CPI trained
Mhm.
through MSSA. MANT is supposedly free. I can't speak free. But I have called and they want to charge us for it, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work. Because they said I have a
I feel
pamphlet
like
that
the
says
training is
free.
free, but if you want them to have a little thing that says they're certified,
Mhm.
then you pay or something.
Yeah, something. But we do have some students that are going to need some hands-on regulation this year, or maybe need to be handled for safety, lots of bolting out of into the parking lot, trying to escape through doors, just some really dysregulated kiddos that need. So our staff wants to know, how can we, for lack of a better term, support, but also restrain those kids from hurting themselves in a way that doesn't hurt them and protects us. And, you grab the one kid the wrong way on accident, and it can really hurt them. So they want training on how to handle those situations. Their favorite part of the training is getting to grab the principal by her ponytail and like wiggle my head around like they're fighting, and I get to fight them off. They think that's hilarious. So
That is great.
they get to beat me up.
Your app comment, how many students do you think have phones?
Honestly, the amount of students who don't have phones is probably easier to know. It's probably, there's even kindergartners that have cell phones. I bet you, if you took our, out of 142, I would bet 30 kids don't have phones.
They have smartwatches.
Or the ones who don't have phones might have a smartwatch.
Emma just got a flip phone as a freshman.
Yay, go
Or
Emma.
an iPad, or like,
Yeah.
almost
Okay.
all have access to some kind of technology.
Just making sure that it's.
You're right,
something
though.
that's Relatively
Yeah.
readily.
One idea we had was, if this is something, I want to really look into it, make sure we're not opening the floodgates to, our community is really conservative, so I want to really check out the app first and all of its aspects. But I have heard of some people having just a station in the counselor's office or in a neutral space where they can open the laptop and fill it out and shut it, like a little, like checkout station situation.
Everything
So,
to give everybody the same opportunity.
right, so we had a good first week. We're working together to get schedules and testing lined out for students. The safety door has been installed. Yay, we have a door. The door doesn't do much because it doesn't lock yet, but we are waiting. There'll be a new key. They have to do the keyless entry, the button. So there'll be 2 fobs, which will be fun. But
One
yeah.
fob has 2 buttons.
oh yes, fob with 2 buttons. So I will open the wrong door every time.
Oh, me too.
All the time. But we also are looking at getting a doorbell for the front so that we can't necessarily see as easily.
That's already in the work.
We used to have a doorbell. Oh, that got taken.
Yeah, the doorbell. It kept. I don't know, where to move door, fizzling out, I don't know, glitching, I don't know.
Our new 7th grade door is still in the works. The staff are excited to have more usable space. Excited to block off those other 2 doors and just be able to So now our students will be able to move between classes in between the two buildings and not have to go around out to the park. They still will use that exterior door when they escape to the bus, though, because it's still like make them walk all the way around the building. I am in communication with an asbestos remediation company. Getting the ball rolling has been difficult. The little tile spaces that are asbestos tiles in the past have been sealed, but they are starting to peel up, which according to our insurance and other places, that's when you start to get worried, when it starts to particleize or whatever. So I am on my second company now, so hopefully I will get.
And just to be clear, if anyone doesn't know, we have a very, very small little patch of
It's, yeah, it's like
asbestos
4x4.
that's not anywhere that students are.
Yeah,
So it's not like we have this
One
huge issue. We just have this little landing on it, you know.
yeah,
up
a
the
little staircase. It's, kids aren't licking it,
Yeah.
well, I hope not. So we are looking at that. They are gonna come out next, or at the end of this week to come and look at it. Kirby. Their building is Kirby is what it's called. I don't know if it's actually the vacuum related, but it's in Whitefish. Our new building well, it says coming because I wrote this when it was still coming. But I was trying to get it. I think I meant coming along.
Yeah.
We had to finish installing water, electricity, and Wi-Fi. Right now it's being used as a storage area. Once it's set up, we're gonna use it as speech and PT offices and for games until we get our move-in plan for the winter. But just for the next few months, it'll be used as a kind of a flex space. I know the speech and PT are really excited to have a quiet place because they've been in the library. So this will give them a place where kids aren't walking by constantly. The gym hallway and door frames have been painted. Check them out.
Good job.
Athletics now runs through the Dragonfly Max program. It's been convenient for parents to turn in forms through the application. So instead of signing papers and getting them back for your students, they can fill them out electronically. We've had 1 or 2 glitches, but for the most part, it's been really great. Our new athletic director, Paula Wright, is working hard to establish our athletics program this year. She has many unique ideas to help build it. She is here at least 2 to 3 times or 3 to 4 times a week, checking in on classrooms, going to lunch just to say hi to the kids, putting up bulletin boards, cleaning. I mean, she's here all the time. It's amazing. For what she's getting out of this, she's putting in a lot. It's amazing. I know the coaches have told me they're happy for the support and to take things off of their plate so they can just focus on coaching. I am working with the schedule to find a time for the run, lock, fight training. I did try to call one of our teachers' husbands who runs those, and his cell phone will not answer my cell phone. It says, "I'm sorry, you can't call this person," and hangs up. So I told him to call me, so we'll see how it goes. Yes. Families will experience a new car pickup system where parents they have a placard. It's about this big. It's in the shape of a yellow car with their last name on it or the children's last name. When they come to pick up their student in the pickup line, they have to hang the placard. So if they're coming during the middle of the day, they don't need it, obviously, because they'll come and check at the office. But just in pickup line, they hang the placard so that people who are running the line know this car, this kid. And if you can give it to an approved person on your pickup list to pick up your students, it's just a way to get to the line faster. Because right now, Miss Lisa is the bee's knees when it comes to whose car is whose. But you put me out there and I don't, like, roll down your window. I can't tell who you are. So this is super helpful. And if they don't have the placard, we have 2 signs we put up that says student pickup area. We'll have them pull into that spot and pull their ID, and we'll just check that they're okay to pick up the kids that they're looking. We're just trying to make it more safe now. As we grow, we're just gonna get more people. We want to make sure, especially since we don't know a bunch of the new families, to make sure we're getting kids where they go. And then I added a bunch of important dates for you.
And a new bullet.
And a bullet. I was still thinking. Just pass. See?
Bullet.
Just literally.
I know, just
Yeah.
kidding, kidding. Thank you, Julie. Glad you had a good start. Okay, action items. So A is consideration of emotional support animal in 8th grade. Remember, we have to make a motion first, then we'll have discussion, then we'll
we moving to consider or moving to approve?
That's.
You can't
you have to
consider,
make
you
a
have to
motion.
either
So
approve or
you have to
deny.
say you're gonna make a motion to approve or to not approve,
I
like,
move
you
to
have to,
approve the emotional support animal in 8th grade.
you have a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, tell us more.
Hey, so our wonderful student, I'm not gonna use your name, but our wonderful student over there.
Andy's-
And I had a conversation about a year ago about, she has an affinity for animals and they make her feel very calm, make her feel centered. And so we talked about possibly looking into getting a support animal. And I know her family has been very supportive with that. And they have had a puppy for almost a year. Yep, almost a year. And they're looking to find out when they can bring the puppy, or if they can bring the puppy to class to support her during the day. So tell us about your puppy.
He's fully trained now, so he knows commands and commands that are just helpful throughout the day to keep him help with me too. Um, I have a few things that he helps with.
You don't have to say it exactly.
Yeah, I know how he helps kind of, I don't like when people are super close to me or leaning on me, which happens a lot, so he provides a kind of wall between them. And so that's one of his things that he does. Have reasons that I shouldn't be, that I need to be using my hands. So if I reach down to pet him for a while, that distracts me from using my hands too much or fidgeting with things that I shouldn't be. And when we're in assemblies and stuff, I get kind of anxious, and so because we normally sit on the floor or stuff, he is like a weighted blanket and he sits on my lap, and so he knows how to lay down so that he knows stay there, that. And he has all of his vaccines, everything, so I also have papers that say he is certified one, a certified ESA dog. So that's what he told me.
And what, I'm assuming there are laws, be them local, state, federal, that affect these types of things. Are we be functioning within all said mandates?
So there actually is no law that supports the use of an emotional support animal. It's for therapy animals and service animals. So the use of emotional support animals is becoming more popular, but it's not as regulated as, say, a service animal. Service animals have to go through 300, 400, 500 hours worth of training and proving and tests. Some of them are like 9-step exams and special training with the program, while therapy animals are hours and experiences that you earn through that, like taking to the hospital and certain things. So I did contact our MTSBA, which is our law office, and I asked them, they said there is no legal preset or standing. Some schools do allow them, some don't. Some set policies dictating how they would consider it, like this child, yes, we can see they need it, this child can't bring their gerbil. It depends on the need, and they kind of narrow that down. The biggest concern I've heard from some staff is there are some staff that are highly allergic to dogs in the middle school. So that would be one of the concerns. And then, just temperament. I've never met the sweet boy. I've heard good things. But temperament in a room with a lot of children, loud banging books, puppy dog tails under chairs. So, but according to MTSBA, we can decide to do whatever we want.
And they weren't worried about us having a policy or not having a policy or, right. That's one thing. We have a policy, because I asked Jen to look it up for me on service animals and therapy, but not for therapy animals, but not, yes, except. But we can make a decision one way or the other regardless of a policy.
Regardless. Yeah,
Okay.
they said it can be a case by case.
Okay. Do we need to have any sort of like documentation identification of the need?
Well,
Do
it's
you know what I mean, like
Yes.
an MVP or something like that, or not? Or is
Um,
it just like?
it can be included in, if the person who has it, it can be included in if there is a present plan or one that could be created. If that makes sense.
Right, like a, like a
Like a
suspected,
504
like
or-
a suspected need or an actual already in place. kind of need. Okay. I guess one of my thoughts is just like, if we say, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Do we open up anyone saying, well, I need one, I need one, I need one, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, what do we need to have some sort of criteria, right? Like, or something to cover us, that like, we're gonna be able to say no to the next person.
Like what the parameters are for it.
Right, like setting a precedent. That, I just wanna know kind of. That was not a lot of guidance from MTSBA. Usually
Yeah.
they're very more specific than that, so.
It's, they said it's a
So
new thing
Okay,
Yeah.
that a lot of schools are not touching because it's so, they're, you know, Poet has put in hours and hours working with this dog, but that doesn't mean that Brooklyn wouldn't want to bring her rabbit and she's, you know, held it twice.
right, that's kind of what.
So it depends on, yeah, there's such a wide scope of people that want, everyone wants to bring their dog.
I guess
Everybody's.
it's sort of point that they'll start conflicting. Dogs
With
with
others.
dogs and other,
Cats and gerbils and.
my biggest fear is Poppy eating one of those guinea pigs.
Would be awful. I have to call in a counseling team. Oh my gosh.
I have a quick question. Is it something you would anticipate having every day with you, or is it kind of like as needed type of thing, or what are you thinking?
Would be an everyday thing, but as days that I would have things after school or something, he would stay home, so there are days that he wouldn't come to school, but it would mostly be every day.
I have a question. Would other kids be able to pet the dog?
I don't,
Or is it?
I don't think we're open for public comment yet on this, so sorry. But we'll have an opportunity to make, so if, after we're done discussing, then we'll say, is there any further discussion? Sorry, just hold your question. Yeah, there's a lot to consider,
I
right?
was going to say,
There's a lot to consider.
I don't want you to misunderstand, like our
Right.
hesitancy has nothing to do.
This is like brand new to us, we've never had to like make it.
They're more
You know-
concerned on the not poets.
Right,
That what are we opening the door to as far as, you know, the not poets who haven't put in the time and the thought. So unfortunately, when it comes to anything legal, you have to think of worst case scenario and then structure back. So like what loops or what hoops should poet have to jump through to prevent, you know, ding dong from getting through? Does that make sense? So
Right.
since it's so new, we don't have any of those, so that's
Right.
what they're thinking.
And the other thing is just more immediate concerns about others as well. Like, obviously, this dog is a good thing for you and helps you. Will it potentially disrupt anything else in the education environment? That would be a concern, right? Like, so we have to make sure that that's not gonna be an issue too. So,
If we were to build a policy, and I should read the other ones before I think too hard on it, but I would break it down, student and animal. The student, you know, do we have a recommendation from a licensed therapist or doctor that, you know, we don't need another reason, but the professional is recommending it, and then animal, you know, what requirements does the animal
Right.
meet as far as size, training?
Yeah, what size is the dog? Just curious. So what?
It's on, so it's
a big dog.
Oh, I love pugs.
Does he snore and how bad are his farts? Because that might be a big issue in the classroom.
I learned that he only snores at like the middle of the night when he's deep. Other than that, when he just takes a nap, he snores normal. But I think he only farts on me.
Is he, at all, so I used to have like a little dog who was about 15 pounds, so I would think some similarly sized, different breed, but, I had a really cute little like airplane sized carrier that was And he was chill with being there, you know, like when we were traveling and stuff. Like in my mind, I think I'd be more comfortable with that type of a setup and I having me lose, like to prevent the going over the tip of hubs and hurricanes, but you know what I mean, like less likely to get stepped on or
Tripped over or
in
backpack.
I've had been training him and learned that he's supposed to stay by my feet when I sit down, so he doesn't roll around. So that, I don't think he would really benefit from me if he wasn't a carrier,
Okay, sounds.
but for him, he would be, it'd be fine for him, just, I feel like it would be harder for him to help me if he was.
Because it's touch related, right? I think being able to touch it.
What about like a little soft open topped thing, like a little bed almost, like kind of keep him looking, but he's still like physically like. I
Because
don't
those carriers have,
Do you know what I'm
that,
saying?
got a zip top, so.
I have one for our dog. It looks like a baby carrier and he sits in this baby
Or a wearable.
carrier. And he looks just like a sling and he sits in it. So he'd be wearing him. Like a front pack.
Okay,
How many times have you taken him out, like in, like, so into similar situations like a classroom where there's 20 or 30 people sitting, moving chairs, dropping books? Those types of things.
I've taken him to stores a bunch of times, mostly places like Murdoch's and stuff, because you're only supposed to take him to other places once he is finished training. And he is also not allowed in certain places like grocery stores, even after training and stuff, because he's not a service animal. And he's been to lakes and he's been to, like I said, stores. He's been to parks, when he's been around other dogs, so he's completely good around other dogs. When he was young, I started training him to not get around noises. So I would drop stuff or throw stuff at the ground, and so he's pretty good with sound related things. So not a lot of things bother him.
So the ESA training, is that something you just looked up and you did yourself, or is there like a program for that that you had to follow?
Well, there are certain things that he, like certain commands, like how he stays by my feet, how he does the weight stuff, is just kind of getting him to stay on and then rewarding him, so he kind of just, so now he knows how to do it, but it wasn't things that are like every single ESA dog would know. But certain different types of
So it just
ESA
depends on
dogs
what the person needs them
Yeah,
to do.
helps
Okay.
with other different reasons. But most of the training he has is like sit, stay, heel. I taught him how to walk on a lead. So that's all the main stuff, and then the other stuff is just personal. Like the weight thing and the staying behind my feet and stuff like that.
Is this something they do at Flathead High School, do you know? Do they have anyone on
No,
this
I
service?
Haven't heard anything about that.
In fact, we all, our hearts would just be like, oh, yes, but I mean, it's unfortunately, as with all things, right? We have to consider pieces.
Is there any other questions or discussion from the board before we open it up?
GPS doesn't have in there.
I emailed all the first. The first one to request this apparently in the entire valley. So we might set a precedent for everybody.
So just like a silly question, but has he ever bitten anybody, like showing aggression, nothing?
No, I actually was pretty surprised, because even some puppies do show aggression when they get scared. He has never shown aggression, and don't really think he's ever what he's shown with his temperament so far.
So when you were doing your training with him, does he like follow your commands when he's on a leash or is he off leash and he follows?
I taught him off leash first, so he knew it, and then I taught him how to walk on a leash and then to listen. So he knows both off leash and on leash commands. And when he is off leash, he also does commands that he wouldn't do on leash, like heel. He stays right by me so that he's not walking off. And so those are just, I wanted to teach him both so that if anything, for certain circumstances.
All right, open it up to further discussion. I guess my only other thing would be that she mentioned that allergies in school and that's staff, not students. Is it severe? Is it like?
I know that she said she gets, just kind of similar to like a seasonal allergy reaction, sniffly, itchy, headache. Things like that. She did express like the staff member, the deep love and understanding and felt bad about saying so, but was like, I'm allergic to dogs, and it bothers me a lot. Like,
Do we happen to know about like all the other students in the process as well?
so far, every student, when we first had Poppy, we sent out forms, any place
So
that,
we had to send it back.
yeah, saying if they were or weren't, we only had one. And then, so we created a 504 plan for that student so that their room would be doubly cleaned with extra HEPA filters and stuff. And that seemed something good, but it was extremely mild, not as severe as this other staff member's reaction.
Is there a way we could keep, like if we were to allow it, but not with that person's classes or something?
Yeah.
Like maybe is there a different location?
Yeah, like,
Perhaps.
if we were gonna do a different location, when you just had this one staff member's class, the dog could always come and be in my office in a safe place. It might be a good break for the dog too, away from people. We need just a minute, you know? But it's just a big lot to think through.
Is there anything you can do to make a dog, and this sounds stupid, but like less allergenic? Like, I know I've heard of supplements and things that help. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I know that a lot of times people take them home and wash them every day, just to make sure that that dander is off. If he's sleeping on a blanket, or she makes sure she comes in with clean clothes to her class, right? Like, don't bring a blanket, he's been laying in all day, bring a fresh one. Like, we know when Poppy, another student expressed issues with Poppy, we just had more filters going on in the room, clean, which seemed to make a difference. We could probably apply the same concept to the dog, and Poppy was being washed more often.
Well, yeah, that what you just mentioned brings me back to like, even if we didn't have a dog in that staff member's classes, going to and from classes and have, excuse me, I didn't mean to say your name, child with dog requests. You mentioned her name. So sorry. Yeah, good, okay, so good. Going from class to class, you're gonna have the fur and the dander anywhere. Right? I mean, that's just.
Do you know if the staff member reacts to people who have dogs at home on their clothes, or do you know if it's mostly just the animal itself?
The reaction can vary. I'm very allergic to cats. If there was a cat being here, I would be fine. If one of my children touched the cat and went home and touched my couch and I sat on the couch, I would have an allergic reaction.
Oh, so it's
Like
like
it's
contact.
to contact.
Yeah.
So it's like there could be a cat walking around, we totally find it's a touch thing. So I think everybody's different.
I also quite likes water, so I do bathe him quite often. And the things he lays on and stuff usually are towels and things, so they get washed out quite frequently. So washing him wouldn't be a problem.
Do you happen to know, have you researched if Flathead allows residential services?
Not, but I don't think it's a yes or no for there either. I think that's kind of like here. You know?
Right, it's a case by case.
How far are you from the button? Like, what
Their
year?
age
She's
is
an eighth grader.
That's the concern too. Yeah, I guess it depends on your need, like, it's a short-term need or a long-term need, right?
If it helps you great this year and then they say no for the next 4 years, that would suck.
Well, I've kind of considered that too, so if that does happen, I'm okay with that. I just feel like for this year, that would really help, because that's what's been helping. And I do understand that that would probably be a little harder to say yes to or no to in high school,
Yeah.
but I feel like this is really something that would help me this year.
So if we were to decide, I think we're all just like, this is such a big thing, from past experience, I feel like we're a board that is very tenderhearted, so we tend to definitely just want to love on everybody, so I can't express that enough. That our concern isn't you or your lovely little boy, it's just all the implications there. If we were to decide to give it a trial run, would you be willing to do a presentation for each set of students that you're involved with about the reasoning? That's a privacy issue for yourself, so it is not something that you probably even should share, but more just like the training that you've done and your expectations of how they would treat your little boy and all that. I mean, would you be willing to put yourself out there in that way? Yes, because to me, that's huge, like setting expectations and explaining why, not your reasons why, but all the work you've done. So that, like you said, someone can't just be like, oh, I need my gerbil all day, every day. Okay, well, have you done 400 hours worth of training? Have you know, so I guess for me, that would be something I think that would be critical, is you presenting, yes, your expectations and all work.
I think that would be good to do so that, you know, so people also understand better why it's happening, for them to be able to bring an animal to school. And so that they don't feel it's odd.
Or unfair, potentially, I'm more concerned about people, other kids being like, well, I want to bring my stuff to school, or, you know, whatever, so. I guess that would be my thing.
Could we maybe, if the board is leaning in favor, possibly do it where we start with a period, see how the dog does, then kind of step into versus just saying, hey, let's try full day.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but is that even gonna work with your
That's
schedule,
when they say.
right, because when they work, right?
I legally can drive dogs home.
Okay.
I can't drive kids home, but I can
So
drive
the
dogs
dog would
home.
either kind of need to be here all day or not, is what I've been saying.
Right, I was.
Yes.
going to ask that. That's the big part of it.
In case of emergencies, like for me, for the dog, I do have someone that could come get him.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea,
Works, but he is out.
yeah. I do like the idea of setting, some kind of boundaries. You know, like some kind of, system down, so everybody, like you were saying, just doesn't go, oh, I need to bring my pet. You know, and having something kind of in place for that.
Yep.
So he can meet those goals. And the next person that comes along goes, oh, you know, I want my animal. There's already something in place.
Exactly.
So there's something to back you guys up on that.
And something else along those lines too, because we do have animals, we have had animals, dogs in the building, but those are dogs for everybody. Like everybody can love on them, pet them, take them out for a walk. So then in my mind, I'm thinking the kids knowing that boundary for her and for the animal as well. Like making sure we set strict boundaries there as well, because if you have friends that go to your house and you play with your dog there, and then you come here and it's your support animal and it's for you, not for your friends to pet, not for anybody else to take out to the potty, none of that. So I guess that's kind of in my head. That's what I'm doing. I'm like this. I'm like, I would love it if it would help you. I want every student to succeed however is possible, but I also can't afford to lose a staff member at this point. You know what I mean? Like it's.
My limited experience with emotional support animals, sometimes they are okay to pet and things. They're more like a pet.
Yeah, so that's where
Than
we
like a
have to
service
really have a set of
So
boundaries.
it's an individual
Yeah.
thing, but yeah, we have to know, like,
Yeah,
is that,
where you,
is that
you know, your
okay?
presentation set very clear.
But then that in the classroom as well, there have to be boundaries, in my opinion.
Right,
You're a
so
middle
it doesn't
school
disrupt
teacher.
the class.
Just because, yes, if she's okay and the animal's okay with the petting and all that, they're here to learn though too.
Right, exactly.
So that's great and that would help you, but we also have to look at the whole big
Yes.
picture too.
If they did, it would have to be an appropriate time,
Right,
not while you're trying to do the math test.
Yes.
right. Maybe a transition or something as they're walking, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, because during class periods, it is, because it is kind of a touching thing and weight thing. For him to be by me, I don't want other people messing with him,
Exactly.
but when, like she said, when we're switching classes or when I am outside, stuff like that, that would be okay, because it's not a class where I need to focus and he's helping for us.
I've been researching ESA. One of the first gates that they're mentioning is a document from a licensed mental health professional. Due to emotional, mental, or psychological disorders. And I think that would be a
Deterrent.
actually, it would be a good gate for a starting point, you know.
An initial requirement, yeah.
That would weed out a bunch of the, you know, I just want to bring my. Yeah.
I would think
I feel
training,
like-
certification, vaccinations, and
I feel like we're gonna have to create a policy on the spot
Yeah.
here. Or, like you said, trial run and then create a policy, which I don't want to be charged of.
Sounds like you are though. The research.
I'll just email this to you guys, edible.com.
So
Anyway,
I mean, I can always work on building a policy and researching requirements and sending them out and whatever. So it might be a bit of a task before it's like green light, let's bring him. But one thing I would like to do is maybe have her bring him one day and me sit and follow her through the day and see how the dog is acting when I can be there to grab the dog or assist her if it doesn't work, or if it, you know, he gets his tail smushed or something like that. I know they have little quirky screw tails, but still, they sit down and their tail touches the ground. But
that's they're saying, like colleges will require some of, they meet the dog first.
Yeah.
right.
So that being a middle school staff member, is there a time coming up in the somewhat near future on, say, Friday afternoon that would lend itself to a science presentation on, or
like a health class.
a health class presentation in which this young lady and her,
I think if it's an issue, we could make this in your pay. Explain to everybody. Hopefully before.
right, just as like just to even introduce the idea to the students and see how they react. I'm not saying we're agreeing to anything, just like, this is just it's just a presentation, a student presentation about a pet that can somehow be worked.
Make it work, I mean, she could do it in grade health class. I know.
Sorry.
She could do it in the eighth grade health class, but she's in several classes with other students, because you don't need to start classes, so it's like.
Right.
6, 7, 8, 6, 7, whatever, so it would have to be all classes.
It's middle school.
So if you can open it up to, did you still have a question or did that kind of answer the question? Okay.
You could copy and paste pieces of the therapy animals, like, for me, the exclusion or removal from school, like, it's on the admin.
Right.
So it would be removed if the handler, in this case, I guess he'd be the handler, does not have control of the animal, it's not broken, presents a direct or immediate threat, or the presence interferes with the education process. And that would be on Mrs. Maxwell to determine that.
So I'm thinking like with doing, and I agree, that should like definitely be,
No pressure.
no pressure, right?
Well, and I overheard somebody mention lunchroom. And I don't think that there's any way the county health department would be okay with us having an animal in the lunchroom. I would have to check, but I don't think that would
At
be
least during lunch hour.
during, well, lunch food is being served, right?
Right.
So,
That makes good sense, that makes,
so that might be one thing we have to would have to work around. Just, or find.
just to extrapolate a little, I just said,
Right.
the presentation, as staff members, then I want your feedback, like, did the kid? I think it could function on two things, you can see pretty quickly, like, are all the kids pretty okay with it, they're like excited about it, or are there kids that are like, yikes, freak out, don't like dogs, think they didn't know that? But also, it just takes the novelty out of it if we do move forward then, and they've already met your little boy, then it's not.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. And so just to clarify what I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm for it, I'm just saying if we were to do that direction, maybe a good first step would just be, just introduce it as just a health presentation for and see how everybody reacts and see how your little guy reacts. I don't.
It's never been to school.
Right, so it's just like an
Exactly.
introduction, just kind of everybody getting this to see what happens, I guess.
Do you feel like, that you have kind of similar needs of your animal, no matter what setting you're in, or are certain like classes or certain times of day, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
So. What's that called? Work classes are usually the time that I would need him because those are times that I have anxieties and like fidgeting, stuff like that.
kind of the more academic,
I'm not gonna go on, but
more of the academically challenging classes.
yes. Classes that places that I wouldn't need him to help me with is like lunchtime, recess, I'd say a few other classes that are okay for me that I'm not 100% need him in. But it's mostly the core classes that I.
Are those together? Any chance? Are those scheduled together for classes or is it?
Core classes are kind of scheduled, a few of them are scheduled together, but then the rest are.
So then in theory,
It's not like a morning afternoon thing.
Right.
It's like that.
throughout the day, so there would potentially need to be a kennel or somewhere that he's located while you're at lunch, while you're at recess, that he's cool with you. In those times, I mean, potentially. Right, yeah. Right,
Well, yeah. There's that too. There's all those little logistical things like,
right, yeah.
what would he need? What would, you know?
This website suggests a trial period for a grade.
Tip of my tongue, I'm just trying to figure out, we do a trial period. Followed by, if it works, continue, or do we have to do trial periods and vote on it again next month?
I think however we amend the motion to be worded is what it is. I think we could do either. So, we do have something coming up this month. Poet is actually going in, next week to get her tonsils out. So she is gonna miss 10 days of school. So she's gonna, well, be out from Tuesday until what, the following Friday? Trying to see the calendar in my head, so it would be, the 20-something, should be back in, what's that Friday? Look at the calendar right now.
The 20th.
Friday's the 20th. What days are surgery? Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, the 17th.
Yeah, so it'd be the following fall.
27th.
June 27th.
Yeah. So, it gives you guys a little bit of time to get something together.
Can I ask you another question? So, what's your dog's name?
Roscoe.
Do you have other animals at home or is it just him?
I have other.
Is it just him that makes you feel less anxious? It's not-
Yes.
There's no other animals that help?
Yes, it is. She's got a kitty. Her kitty is number one.
We purchased Roscoe with the intent of making him an ESA.
Yes, kitty doesn't want to.
So other animals help, but they're not trained.
Yeah, kitty's not trained to come to school.
I have other dogs, but he, like Max will say, I got him in.
Oh, you did get him with that intent?
Yes.
Because I feel like I'm a dog person. I feel like dogs have their people,
Mhm.
you know, so I'm just curious, okay.
Our other dog is here. And so,
My Tilly would be.
She
perfect.
does not- Tilly is cute and
Yeah,
super
Tilly
nice.
would be perfect.
I hate Tilly.
Tilly's so sweet.
Tilly's a monster. We have literally
Holding
last 2
hobby.
weeks.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, Ross, that's what I'm thinking in my head, like, is it just this dog that specifically helps you? Because we do have a dog in the building that's already been approved, that's what I'm like trying to, that's why I was asking, like, is it an everyday thing, or are you more needing it, like, for testing, or for like, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
different blocks of your day, instead of like, start to finish the whole day, because we do have a dog that was specifically for children or staff that needed that love of the dog, I guess.
She's been requested back by another teacher, but reading through the therapy and all this stuff. Talks about handler dog.
Right. Yeah.
And so now do we
Like
switch
the one
handlers?
person, right,
The joys of bureaucracy.
right.
Yeah.
So much to do.
So looking at the calendar and what you just told us, you didn't have to offer the information, but it does help us make kind of a timeline. So if you return, if you're out through the 27th, when you come back, it's October, right? And we have 2 weeks before, between that and our next board meeting. So if we were to consider doing a trial period, it might make sense to do the first 2 weeks of October and then reconvene at our October board meeting, make a decision of yay or nay, or
Are we gonna come up with, like you said, those policy things prior to, since she's gonna be out, prior to even the trial basis?
I feel like
Just so we
should,
have-
right? So like if we were to
Guidelines
approve it, it
and
would be
boundaries
approving a
and-
policy and you know, right? And the trial period wouldn't have to be like a full, like every day, all day.
Right.
It'd be the like come in and. And
The meet and greet.
Other thing, all dogs in Flathead County are supposed to register with the county.
Correct.
License, so he'd have to
He's
make sure that he's licensed with the county.
Which I have not done yet, so I can.
That, yes, yeah.
good point. So yeah, the vaccines and like.
Sometimes living in Marion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and not all counties have that. It's like Cascade County, that's not a rule.
Oh, okay. They did change that too. I don't know if you guys know, but as long as you keep the rabies vaccine up, you only do it once now. It never expires.
Registration.
The registration,
Yeah.
where it used to be, you had to do it every so many years.
Okay.
Forever, I think it's every.
vaccine is.
That tank has to be renewed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your vaccine gets renewed, but as long as you keep up with that, you never renew your
Correct.
license.
Yes, yeah.
It's like an annual
Yes,
license.
Yes, when we adopted our last baby from the town, that's what they told us.
Yeah.
If you keep up on your rabies, it automatically renews.
Well, when I say they just did it, it's probably been a while, but in my head, everything has just been done.
Just have it. Okay.
So does that mean we table this for the
No,
next?
or we amend our motion. To do something.
Temporarily approved.
Because if she's gonna do a trial run, do we have to have something in place before that happens? The board would have to approve it before she brings the dog,
It's a very good question.
because if a kid showed up. with a
According
dog,
to
they
MTS
don't Go home. We're not gonna do that.
According to MTSBA, we don't have to have a policy. We're just saying we would prefer to have a
So you
policy.
would want
So
it.
the current motion on the
Yeah,
table
I would
is.
like something from the board saying we can, so that if something ever happens, they're not gonna come after Julia Maxwell for allowing a dog in the building, because the board was in on it too.
Well, at this point, I'm still just thinking, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm thinking like singular meet and greet to start, like, I don't know, I mean, are we now
Instead
saying
of
we
throwing
wanna
it into
do?
a classroom that's rotating 6 times a day, maybe.
I mean, I guess I don't, where was anybody else on that? I didn't. That's right. It's just kind of the
So you were
initial-
thinking come and be part of her group?
Like just a meet and greet, her presenting him as part of a class, you know, not just wasted time, but it could, any number of ways can be worked into a class. You know, you could write about it, you could talk about mental health, you can, I don't know, but I guess that's where I was at, was more just the initial meet and greet and then getting feedback from staff about, well, how did it go? How did the kids react? And I don't know, you know, versus just like a free for all of just go ahead and bring them every day. You know, I don't know.
Although we need, like, and.
A little more.
So we need a little bit more knowing how the dog will do, a little bit longer stretch of a time probably before we approve anything long term, right? So I don't know, that's a good first step, but then
Right.
do we allow him to come for an entire day and like you shadow him? Right, kind of, or shadow them
Or part of a day to start.
the next
every
time
day.
after the visit.
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Like a meet and greet and then 1 or 2 periods.
Right.
And then build like each time build if it goes okay. Because if it doesn't, I don't want to be committed to.
Right, of course.
Right now, the motion is just to flat out approve.
Right.
So you can either
Amend it.
amend it or all vote opposed to it. And we bring it back up in October.
I would want to see how he reacts to other children, but I would want to see how he handles him as well. But then I would also want to make sure we talk to that staff member that's in our building that we really need to.
Right.
And kind of
Maybe we could do all that with the
approval or not.
informal meet and greet approval with the admin in control.
What I'm thinking.
That way she can gauge
All of it.
when, who. You know,
So would you like to amend your motion?
yeah. We have to approve an informal meet and greet with Roscoe and owner. I call it that. PSA.
Yes.
Owner.
All right, I was typing Robert's amending the motion and you were done.
To approve an informal meet and greet with PSA.
PSA.
Owner and
with the
admin.
admin.
Admin supervision or whatever. Yeah. We're all helping him with the motion, sorry, Rob.
We'll probably have you guys, I'll probably have the lawyer draft up something about if the dog does bite another student, that you guys are responsible for that medical care. Because our insurance most likely will say heck no. And it's quite a big legal battle with animals and bites. So,
Yeah, I guess that would be another.
you know, it could be sweet and the kid takes it, you know, not his fault. Asshole, but
He wants
Admin supervision.
admin supervising or
Admin supervision.
with that.
And then I think, I mean, assuming then at that point, admin and involved staff decide, okay, well, I mean, I'm good as a board member turning it over to those of you who are on site.
Right.
They're being like, okay, I seem to go well, let's move forward with trying a period, or that was crazy.
And which people.
Right, right, and just turn it over. You're the ones that have to do. I don't really feel like it's
Right.
very nice of us to make a motion that affects all of your lives and be like, this is what you will do.
Right,
So with
exactly.
your motion, are you stating like you're to approve the informal meet and greet with the dog, the student, admin supervising, and then we're gonna come back and reconvene in October for a final decision?
Yes.
So like a final decision, basically she'll report to us. Findings, right?
We'll have feedback from everybody.
We could not.
I was thinking something else. I don't want to add to the weight of decision, guys, but having been here before with coffee, I think We live in a litigious society. It's been one of my biggest fears. Poppy nipped a kid class. I've never driven so fast to get here, and the whole time I'm thinking, we're gonna lose our farm. Somebody's gonna sue us. Because luckily it was a level-minded parent. It was a weird situation where she may have raised the kid sometimes.
And keep in mind regulations with a plan that have already been in place. So let's pretend the student has preferential seating in the front of the classroom in the middle. If you have a service or an ESA animal, that might not work because now the animal is surrounded in 3 or 4 people instead of like on the side where it can have some space. So that may we have to talk about how accommodations may cancel each other out a little bit too, just for anybody who gets a 504 for an ESA. Just make sure those accommodations don't.
One of the requirements on the therapy animal is insurance. The owner must submit, I'm not saying this is a requirement for you guys, I'm saying this might be a direction to think about. The owner must submit a copy of the insurance policy that provides liability coverage while the animal is on school property. And that may be to protect you guys as well. Because if something happens to Roscoe,
So that would be like basically like your homeowner's insurance, like the liability on that. You might even have to add the second address, like a second insured place. Or your property to be covered here, you know what I mean? That would be, so that would be on you guys to like call your agent and figure out like, just to protect yourself as well.
Just a rider and potentially an umbrella policy can be added to that. Yeah. All the big things.
You know, it's a lot.
We've done a lot of discussion after the re-amended motion. Did we get a second for that? Did I miss?
So I was the second.
Oh, you are?
I was
Okay,
the original.
The second.
And I was
Yeah.
second again. Yeah.
thank you. Now we
Sorry.
can have further discussion. Is there any further discussion? Clear.
that was.
All right, let's take a all those in favor. Aye. Any opposed?
Like baby carrying. And do you think you'd be into that?
Yeah.
Because it might be honestly easier for you.
We
to
just
have
got here, it's just got
hands-free.
here, just in time for, we just voted. We'll tell you when-
There's strollers you can buy.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. I'm sorry you have to have surgery. That's not- Yeah,
Well, I'm actually excited as well.
oh, well, there you go. You feel better, that's worth it, right?
And do it when you're young.
Eat all the ice cream.
Go back.
Don't tell him that.
I had to do that.
If you want
It's just
to-
you.
Mostly they.
She's your twin.
I had mine out 34 years ago, they never came back.
It's just Rob.
Okay, if you want to borrow that sling and see if he likes it, so you can wear him, I will bring it.
I think that'd be a lot.
You can keep it, because Tucker loves it, but you could borrow it, to see if that's something that would work for you.
Okay.
Then, you know, less chance of it getting stepped on, squished when the chair moves, all of it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Moving on, consideration.
One more thing, you guys.
That's fine.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much.
We're just approving subs and then we're pretty much done.
Unless you really want to know who the new subs are.
All right, consideration of hiring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I moved to hire Lee Hanson as substitute.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, consideration of hiring Jay Kaufman as substitute.
Are these all recommended? Okay. I moved to hire Jay Kaufman as substitute.
I will say.
Any discussion?
I don't know who that means.
He is the son of our special education teacher and he's a current substitute for Flathead.
Fair money in that.
Or for money, yeah, well, over there. They're all the same places.
Once you get to the city border, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consideration of M. Niffen.
I moved to
As
hire
substitute.
Kip.
Niffen.
I'll say.
Is that,
Any discussion?
she's got a kind of a different first name?
So Lisa,
Mhm.
I know who she is, yes.
She's wonderful.
Yes,
she helps with the fire.
yes, she did the 4th of July. and very good count.
All right. Our favorite thing on her application was one of her skills was bringing joy. She sure does.
Yeah, she's a very smiley person.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Consideration of athletic fundraisers.
I move to approve athletic fundraisers.
I was thinking,
So, I only remember a couple of the ones she said because she has all these wonderful ideas. Paula would like to do some athletic fundraising. She has one company she's convinced to buy a giant amount of red and black beads, to which she's gonna sell at games to make more money. For the athletic team, she found another person to possibly donate an entire volleyball set, brand new. And she also found another person that may buy uniforms for us. So she wants to do, have permission to do athletic fundraising, such as selling the beads, possibly being a part of the basket raffles, other things like that. And I told her all fundraisers had to be approved by the board. But the major one she talked about was selling the beads at the games.
is it just, and then the kids can like make bracelets? or-
No, like Mardi Gras beads.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that it's individual beads, but I'm like, what? Yeah, got it.
Our three brains were.
Yes,
Yeah.
She talked about it in her interview.
Yep.
It was very successful at previous places.
Very cute idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, just ready to go. Easy, easy.
And it's vague as written as athletic fundraisers because she listed off about 20 and I don't remember all of her ideas. They were all wonderful. But she is really hitting the ground running and just wants permission to start earning money any way she can for.
I trust her judgment. She's
She's obviously, yeah,
I know how hard fundraising is and if she's willing to do that, like,
good for her. yeah.
go for it.
All right,
Do you want notification of any of them?
Um,
Or as we get, there's forms to fill out, as
Yeah.
I can just scan an email to all of you so you're aware as they
I'm
come
okay
in.
with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing inappropriate and everything else is gonna be.
Or illegal.
Right, right, true.
Is it legal, moral, ethical?
Exactly.
We're all good,
Keeping the beats.
Perfect, there you go.
Speed depends on.
right? Okay, all right, should we take a vote? All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Okay. Future agenda items, do we have any?
The
The dog.
follow
dog.
up.
Say,
And I always say I always call it the wrong thing. What is that called that I emailed you about today? What is that word?
Special meeting?
A special, yeah, the approving,
oh, the
reapplying for a
variance to the
variance to
standard.
the standard. I always want to say difference to the standard.
Variance. to the standard.
Yeah.
I'm working that day if you guys are available.
Did we put it
14th.
in? Oh, we
Oh, I
didn't.
thought you-
Did it?
So we have
No,
to do for the
the
special.
Yeah, the only response I got was even it wouldn't work for a staff member. So,
I responded, did you not?
well, since I looked at
Of application for variance of what?
Variance
To
to
the
the standard.
To the standard.
For counselor.
We're up.
It has to be turned in by October 14th. That's
Yeah.
maybe wrong.
yeah.
We need a meeting before then.
Yeah.
I think I responded, I was open the rest of the week. We have to have it Wednesday, we could have one Wednesday, couldn't we?
I can do Wednesday afternoon. Like,
If
I
probably
could
like
no.
lunch or things.
Maybe Friday?
I think I can do Tuesday, I can do Thursday evening, I can do Friday pretty much anytime. I can do Tuesday afternoon, Thursday evening, or Friday anytime. Can't next week.
I can do Friday morning. I can do Friday.
Friday?
I'm good with Friday.
I have a dentist appointment on
I
Wednesday,
can
so I
take,
can't do
I
it
can
now.
take minutes.
Not available Wednesday or Thursday.
I can do Friday morning, but I can't do Friday evening. So, but somebody else can.
Yeah, already out regardless. We have family coming in here, second surgery.
What about next week?
Next on our schedule.
I'm
next
out,
week.
just, no.
You're out all
I'm
this
out
week?
this week, next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want anything else on my plate. I'm too type A, so.
And you
As long as you have a quorum.
If
we have
yeah,
three
you'll
people.
just need a quorum, so if three people pick one day that three people have to
So
speak.
what about Monday the 16th? I can do, hold on.
Not like it's a long discussion.
I can do the
Right,
from
yeah,
the morning
I
to like lunchtime-ish on Monday the 16th.
I'm open. Yeah, we can do it via Zoom, or we can do it via phone
Yeah, I'm
too.
open.
So how about the
I
16th?
think I'm open too,
Okay,
Anyone reserved, so there's.
okay, but that would be three of us.
yeah.
There would be three of us, okay. So we're gonna do.
Do we have a
Monday?
time? Yeah.
What time are you all available?
What time?
Anytime that.
I mean, what about you, Camille? If
I'm open till like 2.
you want to do 10?
10 AM is good.
23 at 10 a.m. would be our
That's the 23rd.
16th. Monday the
Excuse
16th.
me, not the 23rd. It's
Monday, September 16th. September.
That's way after you're tired. Anything else for future agenda? Any information?
Okay, so we get to AED batteries.
Teresa did the order today.
Committee? Safety team.
Oh, yeah. I was hoping to put before you the idea of forming a committee for the safety team. One where we can sit and talk through how we want it structured, how it's gonna work with all the options that we've discussed in the past. Shannon and I were trying to make plans to present, tonight to do one thing or not do the other, and we realized there were so many different, like, well, what about this and that, and this and that, that we thought it'd probably be best to have a committee to talk through all of it before it came to a decision, because there was just so many different
Just kind of as a
variables.
follow-up from our last special
Yeah,
meeting.
like, let's get it written down, really
Yes.
formulated, this is the plan, this is what, who's gonna pay for what, all of that stuff. Because we couldn't even make an action to vote on tonight, because there was just so many, well, what about that, and this and that, so. We racked our brains for it,
So you're looking for a board committee or a committee that would include like board and safety team people? What exactly? are you
yeah,
thinking?
probably, one of the certified safety team people, and some board members also. I would not the entire safety team.
Right,
Just because it'd be a more administrative.
right.
committee.
Do we still need to approve one other person for the safety team? We did not actually approve anyone else yet.
No, because you're still waiting on a psych eval.
I was gonna say we
We are,
decided to
okay.
move forward with those.
Yeah.
Was the next thing.
Yeah.
So are you looking to form that right now, or you're just bringing up the idea?
Sure, I didn't know what we were allowed to do with Robert's confusing rules.
I mean, a committee. That's a good question. I feel like that should be an action item maybe, right? I don't know. No?
As in,
It's like when we restructure the board and we elect our people to whatever things, then usually that's when you form committees for things. It's under that item.
I don't know that we've done like the insurance committee, I don't know that we were like, oh, we need to vote on that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we
Oh, I
had
have a special
Meeting
meeting.
after our special meeting?
yeah, we had a special meeting.
future agenda items.
If you're interested in being part of that. So,
But yeah,
16th, and we'll put that on the.
Yep.
Okay.
first two board members that speak get to be on that.
Just kidding. Actually, I'm willing to be on. Yeah. Okay, we are on to our last item. Adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Sorry, I'm hitting
Get all
all
second.
the buttons. Did you sound it? Yes, yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
I
I
Thank you.